Hi, my name is Alexa, and today I am here in my greenhouse in Northeast Ohio. Welcome to my channel where I talk a lot about gardening and homesteading, raising chickens with a family, and I'm so glad to have you here today. I have been cleaning my greenhouse, so it's spring, it's officially spring, and my greenhouse usually becomes a place that is like a catch-all at the end of the season. I just kind of bring everything in here and then I'm like done, and it gets really unorganized. And then this time of year when it's like go time with the garden, my greenhouse is typically a mess. So I have taken time today to get things organized, and I'm pretty happy with what we have going on. So I've got my potting station all set up. I moved my benches down to the end. I had a shelf here that I have relocated here, and you can see I have some nice greens. These are all ready to start getting transplanted out into the garden beds. Celery here and onions. So I had all of that going in my house. I started it from seed 4 weeks ago, and I definitely oversowed in all of these cells. I mean, there's a lot in each of these pots, but that's okay. I didn't want these to get too big too fast anyways, just because, you know, the weather is unpredictable. But a lot of good food that I'm going to maybe start even planting today. We just got a good thunderstorm and it is now sunny. And then from this point of view, I mean, it's nothing fancy, but I got all my pots in a tote here to kind of get them off my shelf, so I had space to prepare for seed starting. And just another shelf there that I will fill with flats of seedlings. And I really need to get another shelf on this one because I could go another layer up on here, maximize all the space. But all in all, it is a lot cleaner than it was. I feel much better about the organization. I don't know about you, but sometimes it's hard for me to start projects when my space is really unorganized, and that's how I was feeling today. I've been very gung-ho about getting seeds started, and I usually, you know, Saturday is usually the day of the week when I can do anything out in the garden, and with the weather and some chores and things I had to do this morning, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get everything done, especially because I had to organize. So we are organized, and we're going to start some seeds. So I have 5 flats laid out here, and all of these are actually going to be for a seed sale that I'm going to be participating in here locally on April 29th. So if you are in Ashtabula County, Ohio, this seedling sale is going to be in Dorset, and I will put some things on my Facebook page, Sandals and Steel Toes on Facebook, about the event. And if you're local to the Northeast Ohio area and you want to check it out, there's going to be other people there selling plants. It's actually like a plant sale and plant swap, so there'll be some bartering opportunities, seeds for sale, like it's a whole thing. And I will put all that information on my Facebook page if you want to check that out. A team of people came together last year to start a food forest in Dorset, Ohio. It is in its infancy, but they have planted like hundreds of different kinds of trees, fruit trees, berry bushes, just perennial plants that will bear fruit, all native stuff to Ohio. So it's very exciting and just a really cool reason to get engaged with the community. Come check that out, what a food forest layout kind of looks like. One day everything will be like huge and big and grown. Right now everything's pretty small, but it's a really cool community project. I'm sure there'll be lots of people there that can like give tours and talk more about what the food forest is going to be doing for the community, but I wanted to add that point on if you were interested in checking any of that out. And so I am going to be getting tomatoes started, some peppers, and some greens. and probably some herbs. So I'm gonna get all of that started in here, and I've got about what, like 5 weeks until that sale, so you know they should be a decent size by that point. I can't start a whole lot of stuff in my house just because I just really don't have the space, so I've been like really holding off to see how the weather's gonna be and what I can actually put in my greenhouse. And the only thing might be the tomatoes. I might have to move those in the house on some nights where it gets below freezing in here, but otherwise I'm gonna maximize my space. And if you want to learn a lot more about seed starting, I'm actually going to be having a class on April 21st at the Harbor Garden Store in Ashtabula, Ohio. I will also put information on my Facebook page about that, and it'll be a hands-on how to start seed class. Pretty excited about being able to do that, so make sure to check out my Facebook for all that information if you're interested, if you're local, if you want to check those things out. If you're not local and want to know how to start seeds and all of that, I do have a pretty good in-depth video on how to start seeds, and I will link that down below if you want to check that out too. So now I'm going to work on the task of filling these trays with soil, and it's a pretty repetitive process. Literally just going to take my soil and put it in the cells, repeat, repeat, repeat until all of these are filled up. All of that work done, and now I'm getting the seeds in the pots. Just got my little workstation set up, and I'm writing out my labels. We're doing some purple sprouting broccoli, this kind of broccoli, it's a green sprouting broccoli, early Jersey Wakefield cabbage, and this mammoth red rock. And then I'm thinking of doing a variety pack, like a 6-pack, for my 6-pack flats of Swiss chard, black seeded Simpson lettuce, and kale. And so I'm gonna fill these up kind of like 2 plants per 6-pack, and that will give you know, customers opportunity to buy 3 different kinds of plants in a little 6-pack. You know, especially good for smaller home gardens where they don't want, you know, hundreds of one kind of plant. So it's just gonna be a work in progress in here. Pretty quiet, nice quiet time for me. And then once I've got this stuff done, I'm gonna work on some tomatoes. Okay, so I'm working on writing out my labels for the tomatoes that I'm starting for the plant sale. And so I'm going to do the Castelluto Genovese, the Indigo Apple. This is one of my all-time favorites. I'm going to do the Cherokee Purple. Now this will be the first year I'm growing Cherokee Purple, but every year that I sell plants, everyone asks me about Cherokee Purple, so I am getting some of these going. Wanted to get an orange, like an orange yellow variety going, so I have the Big Rainbow. This one is very good. I'm going to be doing some Black Beauty seedlings. Everyone always asks about Black Beauty also. I'm really wanting to have some variety, some kinds of tomatoes that people just can't get from their, you know, your big box stores and places where most people go to buy their plant starts. So I want some heirloom varieties that are a little bit more unique, but then This will be my 3rd year trying to sell plants, and everyone always asks me, do you have beefsteak tomatoes? Do you have beefsteak tomatoes? I'm like, I have a ton of big red heirloom tomatoes. Here's all the varieties, you know, and I go down the list and they're like, no, I'm just looking for a beefsteak tomato. I'm like, okay. So this year I have some very generic packs of beefsteak tomatoes, red beefsteak tomatoes. And I'm gonna start a lot of these because this is what people seem to know and want to buy. So I have that as my kind of like primary tomato, is just the red beefsteak, but then I've got all of my unique heirlooms because I want people to enjoy and experience all the wonderful heirloom tomatoes out there. Like, you have to get beyond the beefsteak, guys, and like, let's try some really delicious, unique tasting fruits. Like, you're gonna be amazed how good some of these varieties taste. And so I picked out ones that I really enjoy and hope that these customers will too. So, and then I will be done in here for the day because it is windy outside, so you can probably hear the wind. We've had some storms today and now it's going to be windy, and the temperature will not be going below freezing, but it is going to be pretty windy and cold. So I'm also experimenting by starting these tomato plants in my greenhouse because the temperatures are, we will still go below freezing, especially at night. And I don't heat my greenhouse. It's far too drafty in here. I mean, it is not a tight seal, so there's really no point on putting heat out here when it's just all gonna go outside. I did have a heater out here last year for a little bit, but I think I probably just wasted more money in electricity running it than it actually heated anything. So I'm really not gonna do that again. And if it looks like we have some freezing nights, I will take these trays of tomato plants in for the night. I'm only doing 2 flats of tomatoes. I'm not, again, I'm like learning every year I'm selling plants. I'm learning what people are interested, not interested in, and what I can reasonably do within my time capacity, because I do have a full-time job. All of my gardening work is done after hours, on the weekends mostly. And I've learned that I start way too many tomatoes every year and then I can't get rid of all of them. I have a really hard time, you know, selling the unique heirloom varieties. Just people don't seem to want to buy them. I've also been more mindful of, like, you know, I always think I'm gonna put a lot of seeds in one pot and I will separate them and do all the thing, and then life happens and I can't get to separating them and uppotting them quick enough, and I experienced a lot of stunting in plants last year because I just was not uppotting them fast enough. And I think, you know, I'm just gonna spend more time picking one seed by one, putting them in the pot, then I won't have to uppot anything. By the time these are getting sold, they'll be at a good size. They'll be about 6 weeks old by the time that I am selling these seedlings. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know. It's always a learning experience, especially, you know, if you're not selling plants as like part of your actual business and you're just kind of doing it as a hobby. You don't know what you don't know, and so I've been learning every year and improving, and, you know, maybe one year I'll be able to do a big sale or something, but for now I'm gonna stick to 5 flats that I'm taking to my sale, and hopefully I'll sell them. And if not, it's not like a crazy amount of plants that I'm gonna be overwhelmed with. I could probably plant them a lot or give them away to my family members and friends, so we'll just see what happens. But so another thing that's been like on my mind lately is around the name of the channel. I have been considering changing my channel name for probably a year, and I'll tell you why, and like my thought process behind all of that. So in 2020, when I started my channel, I was not working at the time. I had been furloughed. It was COVID. So, you know, I suddenly had a lot of time on my hands, not having to work my 9-to-5 job. And I was like, I'm doing a big garden. And I decided to start YouTubing it because I just thought, you know, why not? Other people are doing this. I could do it too. I like to do videography. That was a hobby that I did as a kid with my friends. We would make videos and stuff all the time. This was pre smartphone era, so we had like the camcorders and the whole thing, and you know, I just thought it would be a cool thing to do. So I started my YouTube channel all about gardening, and my original thought at that time was we would be doing kind of a lot of like building a homestead sort of thing. You know, I thought we would be, you know, building infrastructure and maybe getting more animals and like kind of developing this, this life around like homesteading. And so my thought behind the channel name Sandals and Steel Toes was about sandals being like the gardening side, steel toes being more of like the building a homestead side. Merging them together. You know, you've got your fun days where you're in your sandals and you know you're going to the beach and you're having a good time and it's casual and relaxed, walking through the garden tours, you know, just that kind of summer lifestyle. And then your steel toe side where you're doing your hard work of the garden, because you're digging and mulching and all that goes into gardening, as well as, you know, building fences, building structures, building all these things to be able to like raise animals and all of that goes along with homesteading. And so that was kind of where the name Sandals and Steel Toes spurred from. And I don't know that I've ever actually like said that on a vlog. And so what couple things now that it's been 3 years since I've been doing YouTube is that, you know, I have gone into my niche, which is very much gardening specific, growing your own food, you know, teaching to beginner gardeners, vlogs, garden tours, and, you know, I kind of dabble here and there about healthy eating and sharing a little bit how gardening and growing my own food and having my own produce seat, how that has helped me develop a healthier lifestyle, eating healthier, being able to actually lose weight that I've, you know, not been able to lose for over 12 years, like, and getting into more whole food eating, like, and so I'm kind of dabbling in that area. And, you know, I have a lot of fun doing this. This is a hobby for me. And I want to keep growing my channel and reaching people out there that are ready for a change in their life, and maybe they don't want a whole big homestead, like they don't want a farm. Maybe they are in a situation where they can't do a farm. Like, I can't have a farm. I live in town. I do have like 2 3/4 acres. A lot of it is kind of wooded, and it would be a really big expense to try and make that work for livestock, like. And I just don't know that we're in a time of life, my husband and I, that we want to invest all that time into doing it. You know, we're career-minded people. I would love to just garden all day long. Like, if I could do that and get into that, I would. But, you know, the fact of the matter is, we live in an expensive world, and gardening does not pay the bills. So, you know, we have to have our corporate 9-to-5 jobs to be able to make ends meet. And there are things that we're doing to not have to be in that, you know, one day, but that day is not 2 days. So I really want to reach people who are in similar situations. Like, what do you do when you have kind of these different dreams and desires, but, you know, you can't do what everyone else is doing out there. You can't do what some of like the bigger channels are doing with the bigger homesteads. Like, aspire to that, absolutely. But, you know, there's a lot of people out there who are ready for a change. maybe they have some health concerns. Maybe they're ready to change their diet and eat more whole foods. For me, knowing how to garden really got me going into wanting to eat the food that I'm growing. When I buy produce from the store, it more often than not goes bad because it's just not my preference to go out and eat it. I buy it because it's good for me and I know that, and like I know I should be eating it, I know the family should be eating it, but when I grow my own food and I harvest it, like I am on that right now to preserve it, to incorporate it into our meal plans. Like we're eating our food very well, and sometimes you need that little inspiration, that motivation behind like, hey, I grew this, I put it in and all the time and effort from the very beginning, and now that I have it, like I'm gonna eat it whether I like how it tastes or not. So that's my experience, and I think that there's probably others out there that could find benefit in the same thing. Like they want to get healthy, they want to change how they eat, they want to feel better. Like, you know, I'm 30, how old am I? 32? 32. I'm 32, and for a lot of years up until, you know, the last 6 months, I was hurting and in pain and waking up like just waking up tired, waking up sore. I'm like, you know, needing to go going to like chiropractors and doctor and thing, and like, you know, what's wrong with me? Why can't you fix me? But like the problem is I needed to fix myself from the inside out, and I think a lot of people know that they have to do that, but it's just like, how do you do that? How do you do that? Like, how do you actually do that, right? There's so many ways, and everyone's gonna have a different opinion on how you should do that. So I want to reach those people and maybe inspire them to try growing your own food on whatever scale. I have a backyard garden. I have probably a larger backyard garden than a lot of people do, but it's a backyard garden nonetheless. I don't really have, you know, a whole lot of means for huge production crops. I would love to be able to do some more of that, and I think, you know, I'm gonna try and find ways to increase some production here, especially like with things like potatoes. I would love to grow a lot more potatoes than what we have been. So I have some ideas on that, but you know, I just want to help people who are ready to make a change in their life. And you know when you're ready to do that. Like, I didn't want to admit a lot of things for a long time, and when I was actually ready to make the change, I did. And I'm still working on it. I am a work in progress. I will tell you that. It is hard. It's very hard to change your eating habits. Food addiction is real. So anyways, I kind of got off track, but bringing it back is, I don't feel like my name, Sandals and Steel Toes, really encompasses that message of just healthier lifestyle, growing a garden, growing food to change your life. Like, it's beyond just growing food. It's to actually inspire you and motivate you and give you the tools that you need to grow your own food, grow your own vegetables, and eat them. Because that in itself is just a hard thing for so many people, is to just eat vegetables. There are some kids, I have 2 boys, you know, and they don't love vegetables, and, you know, we eat, you know, they're offered vegetables at their meals. They do have to eat them. I'm that kind of mom that says, no, you do have to eat your vegetables that's sitting on your plate. So, you know, I want them to establish good habits and all. And they have some friends, and I've offered friends vegetables before, and like the faces they make, like I would have just as well offered them a dead dog and said, here, eat this. And it's that same kind of like, ugh, reaction. Like, how could you ever ask me to eat such a thing, you vile person? Like, and they're totally serious, and like, it just makes me sad to know that like our culture is very much dependent on you know, standard American diet, fast food, processed food, what's quick and easy and cheap. I mean, food's expensive. I get it. I know. Food is very expensive. And sometimes we do the best we can with what we can afford. Like, so no judgment at all. But it just makes me sad to know there's kids that have never eaten a vegetable in their life, you know, never had a fresh tomato, never had spinach, never had broccoli, that wasn't like frozen, you know, and processed, because that stuff doesn't taste good. I mean, it really doesn't. But when you grow it yourself and it's fresh, like, there's a big difference there. And, you know, I guess I really want to reach a generation of people that see that as what it is. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not making this up. And hopefully reach them and inspire them to just make small changes little by little. Like, no, you should not grow a garden and with every single variety of vegetable that you can get your hands on and think you're gonna eat it all and love it. Like, no, you gotta start small. And that's kind of, I think, the message behind a lot of my content, as well as just sharing, you know, what I do in general, because that's fun. Like, I want to do garden tours. I want to just have chats like this and kind of talk about what's on my mind, and you know, do farm tours at other people's farms, and a lot of things. Like, I don't want to box myself into one area, but I just don't know. I don't feel that my name, Sandals and Steel Toes, anymore is really reaching the people that I want it to reach. The name doesn't clearly define what my channel's about. Home gardening, definitely, that's a big one. Backyard gardening is a big one. You know, I've been thinking of names just like Alexa's Home Garden. It's my name. That's what my channel's about. You know, like, I don't know. And I feel like I'm really not good at thinking of names. And I'm also worried that by changing my name at this point, it's going to negatively affect, like, you know, my subscriptions, and people aren't going to recognize me or know who I am anymore. You know, I've done a lot of branding on Sandals and Steel Toes, and it's on all my videos and my shorts and stuff. But I don't know. I feel like I need to change my name. So I've had some different names in mind. I don't love any of them, really. I feel like I need help with creating a good channel name, a good brand, like, because whatever I do change my name to on YouTube, like the rest of my social media follows, I like to have everything be pretty consistent. The only one that I have right now that's different is my TikTok, and that account is Lex in the Garden. But I could even change all my other social media to match that even. So I thought of that too. But yeah, so that's just what is on my mind while I'm filling out these tags. I only got 3 of them left, and I'm gonna get the seeds in the pots and finish up out here, because it is actually starting to get really cold. The sun's going down and my hands are getting a little chilly in here, so I don't know. Let me know if you have any interesting name ideas based on everything that I've blabbed on about. Just keeping it real with you folks. You know, what do you think? Do I stay Sandals and Steel Toes, or is it time for a change? And what does that new name look like? I don't know. If you guys want to see like the list that I've come up with, and you want to help me go through those, or like give me some ideas, I'm a very creative person, but when it comes to naming things, I feel like I struggle in that area. So I could use some help on potential name options. Anyways, all right, I'm gonna get these seeds in and finish up my workout here. All right. All 5 flats are labeled, seeded, ready to go. I've got 8 more pots over here that I'm gonna fill with zinnia flowers. I thought some flowers for sale would be a nice thing to do. But I love the uniformity of all of this. It is very satisfying. So we've got our 6 packs here that will have Swiss chard, kale, and lettuce, 2 of each. Some herb packs with basil, fennel, and dill. And then red cabbage, green sprouting broccoli, red sprouting broccoli or purple, Castelluto Genovese tomato, big rainbow Cherokee purple, indigo apple, black beauties, and red beef steak, all ready to go for the plant sale 5 or 6 weeks from now. And as long as everything germinates good, I should be in good shape. The days have been pretty nice, and I looked at the forecast for the next week. We're gonna have a lot of sunny days, so it's gonna get very warm in here and it's gonna help with the germination on that. I'm gonna keep an eye on it because, again, this is kind of new territory for me, starting seeds in here this early in the year. Traditionally, I start everything in the house and bring it out, but I just don't have enough room to do that, so we'll see how this does. I'm also thinking of maybe, I have a lot of clear plastic, and I'm thinking maybe of making a little tent kind of above this area, so it will help keep the heat in, and on those nights where we are going to be teasing that frost, maybe I won't have to bring everything in if I make a little tent around that. So I have some ideas. I'm not quite done out here with those, but I'm done for the night because my hands are getting really cold. I don't know the temperature in here. I need to get a new battery on my thermometer. Then I'll know, but I'm good. I feel really good. This has like been the most productive garden day that I've had like this entire year. So it's really good to be able to like actually get back out in here and do all of this. You know, I got everything cleaned out today. Started a ton of pots over there with seeds. I did not get to transplant any of these out, which is probably a good thing because it is pretty chilly tonight and there's a lot of high wind. So probably not good to have those out in high wind on their first night. But so I'm going to go in the house, and tonight I'm going to be working on my personal tomato plan for 2023. So that'll be in a different video if you want to see what tomato varieties I am going to grow in the 2023 garden season. Make sure to subscribe and follow along. That video will be out soon. So thanks for hanging out in my greenhouse with me today. It's good to be back out here again. I've missed it. I've missed this time. So it was a good way to spend my Saturday afternoon. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Talk to you next time. Bye.